Hello everyone, my name is Amelia and this is Maggie and we're the educators here at Aloft. Aloft is an organization that works to protect wild indigenous birds and their habitats, and we do that through avian research, conservation education, raptor rescue, and collaboration with others. We have been attending the Monte Vista Crane Festival for many years, and we're really sad that we can't be there in person this year. We usually have the raptor tours and we present our avian ambassadors. So to make up for missing it, we wanted to show you 4 different owl species so that you could meet some of our education birds. So Maggie's going to start with this little guy right here.
Thank you, Amelia. So this is a western screech owl, and he is one of our avian ambassadors. This is a really special bird to be meeting today because he was the first rescue call that Aloft received in 2021. He was rescued in Tijeras, New Mexico after being found in the middle of the road with severe head trauma. That's most likely from being hit by a car. The caller called Aloft to come and rescue him, and due to the care and well taken care of the rehabbers, he recovered fully from that head trauma, but unfortunately he was left blind in his left eye. All raptor species, including owls, have what we call binocular vision, and that allows them to have incredible depth perception and focus to find their prey. Unfortunately, for binocular vision to work effectively, both eyes need to have full vision in order for the binocular vision to work. So because of that blindness in his left eye, this bird is non-releasable. And so he lives with us at Aloft. So let's talk a little bit about the specifics of a western screech owl. Western screech owls can be found all throughout Colorado, and even eastern screech owls can be found in some areas of Colorado. Screech owls are a species of least concern conservationally, and they're very common in forested areas. You can tell that they have really incredible camouflage to be in forested areas. And so you might walk right past a screech owl without even realizing. You can also tell that he's got really fluffy feathers. Most owls have very soft feathers in order to help them fly extremely stealthily while hunting. And so you can tell with this guy especially, he's got very soft looking feathers. Ooh, as he's showing you. Good job, buddy. This little bird does not have a name yet because he is so new to the avian ambassadors at Aloft, and he's new to his job as an avian ambassador, so we're really excited to be showing you him today. A really cool thing about screech owls is they are cavity nesters. And they use cavities that could be occurring in trees for their nests, and they find cavities that are already existing. So maybe a snag in a tree or a woodpecker hole. So a really cool thing that you can do if you really love this screech owl is you can put up a nest box on your property or near your yard if you have a tree forested area nearby. Screech owls will readily use a box like this, and they return every single year for their nests. And they might even use this nesting box in winter months to stay warm. So that is a really cool way that you can help out the screech owls in your area. So we'll go ahead and move on with Amelia and our next bird.
All right, so joining me now is Celeste, our barn owl. And you might notice that she looks a little different from some of the owls that we're showing you today. And that's because barn owls are in a very different family from all other animals. Now there are lots of different kinds of barn owls, but they all have really similar characteristics. They are long and slim and tall. They have a heart-shaped face, small dark eyes, and they don't have as many feathers on their legs or feet as some of the other species you're going to meet today. You may also notice she does a special behavior that barn owls do where they kind of rock their head back and forth. We call that toe dusting because oftentimes they'll do it right over their toes as if they're dusting it with their face. They do that to look a little bit scary. Now, Celeste was rescued locally, and she had a wing injury that has since healed, but she has an eye injury as well, and that never healed, so that's why she cannot be released. Barn owls are really common throughout the entire world. In fact, they're found on every continent except Antarctica. They get the name barn owl because they often nest in barns and other human-made structures, and they also nest in natural cavities as well, bigger ones obviously than what the screech owl would nest in. Now, the reason that they like to nest in barns and other human-made cavities is because they primarily eat rodents like mice. And mice love to eat hay and other food that humans store inside of barns. So not only is it a safe place for them to nest, but there's plenty of food as well. One thing you all might know about owls is that they have the ability to turn their heads very far around. Some people think that it is a full circle, but it's only about 270 degrees, which is more than halfway around. They have the ability to do that because they have twice as many bones in their neck. So that's a really cool fact that's true about all owls. Now, barn owls are going to be found throughout Colorado, and they come out when it's very, very dark. In fact, that's part of how she got the name Celeste, was because she would be out hunting under the stars, and celestial means that it's related to the stars. So they have small, dark eyes, which means that they can hunt in little darkness, and they have excellent hearing that they use better than their eyesight to help them to hunt. Some of the other owls we'll show you might have bigger and lighter colored eyes, and that means that they might need a little bit more light in order to hunt. We're going to bring out our next bird, a very special one.
All right. So this fluffy bird is Jemez. She is a Mexican spotted owl. You can see that Jemez's reason that she is non-releasable is she's missing her left eye. Her rescue story is she was found in the Jemez Mountains, and she was found by an employee on their way to the Los Alamos labs. He found her in a snowbank on the side of the road, covered with snow, and it was a miracle that he even saw her there. He scooped up the bird and put her in his truck, and brought him to work with him. He let lab personnel know that he had found this owl, and he thought that they were going to take care of it while he was at work. Unfortunately, he came back out from his shift and found the owl was still in the back of his truck. He promptly raced the bird to Albuquerque in order for her to get help from our veterinarian. And the next day, she was brought to Hawks Aloft with no background story at all, that we didn't know where the spotted owl came from. It was touch and go from the beginning for this bird, but right around Christmas Eve, she started to really improve from her injuries, which included severe head trauma, and that left eye was completely blown out. Around that time, we put out a call on Facebook to see if anyone knew why we got this owl, and amazingly, the lab employee's wife responded and let us know that that exact bird was the one that her husband had rescued. And so they were able to be reunited and see each other again once she recovered. So we call her our Christmas miracle bird. So let's talk a little more specifics about spotted owls. Spotted owls live in mountainous forested areas, in dense old growth places. And in those types of habitats, the tree canopy typically overlaps, causing a dappled effect of the light. So those spots on her body resemble the dappled effects of light shining through those dark canopied areas. And so she has incredible camouflage in her natural habitat. And she uses that camouflage to avoid both predators and to remain secretive from her prey, which would include mice, rats, and maybe even bats during the night. Spotted owls are a really special species to get to meet because they are near threatened here in the United States. They're found in southern areas of Colorado, but that due to habitat destruction and the risk of catastrophic wildfires, we're seeing less and less spotted owls. And so this is a really species of interest to scientists and researchers, including the scientists here at Aloft, who do surveys for spotted owls in the Jemez Mountains, where this gal came from.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
So I know that you've worked on that spotted owl study. Have you found a spotted owl?
That is such a good question. So we do primarily our spotted owl studies in the Valles Caldera, and up until last year, this year, we'd never found a spotted owl in that area. But this year we found a pair of spotted owls, which was so incredible and really awesome to see.
And what do you hope to see next year?
Baby spotted owls. We want all the babies. It was determined that the pair we found were not breeding, but our guess is that they were sub-adult, not quite juvenile, not quite adult pair. And so they were just testing the waters of seeing what having a nest would be like together. And so we're really hoping that it worked out in the relationship and that they will have lots of babies.
And what was it? What was that habitat like? Was it like to be in there?
Well, that's a great question. It was very mountainous, forested areas. So where we were, you had to climb up a mountain to see the spotted owls and the little trees, big trees.
So was it really steep?
It was really steep. My lungs got a good workout to go find those birds. It was some good cardio for the whole month.
And now when she turns her head away from the camera, you can see all the spots on the back of her head that actually, see there? That gives you an idea of where she got the word name spotted owl.
Mm-hmm. And she is personally, I think they're just some of my favorite owls. So thank you for the question.
So she looks really fluffy. Could you just reach over and touch her and scratch her head?
Oh, such a good question, Gail. Well, as I like to ask the third graders who ask me, would you ever pet a wild animal? The answer should be no. You shouldn't pet a wild animal. And in fact, for our birds, it doesn't feel good to be pet by a human. In fact, it would be very, very scary to be pet by a human because we're a lot bigger than them with very predator-like qualities on our bodies. So that would be very scary to a bird like this to be pet by a human.
What makes humans look like predators to a bird like that?
Well, we're like 5 times bigger than them. And we also have very scary, big facing forward eyes, and hands and scary things and loud voices. So I think everything about a human would be scary to this bird. So, but luckily our birds are trained to know that we're not going to hurt them, but they also know we're not going to pet them because we respect them. So great questions, Gail. Thank you for the questions.
All right, the last bird that we're going to be meeting today is our great horned owl, Bubba. Now, he gets his name from the scientific name for great horned owls, which is Bubo virginianus. He was rescued with what we thought was a very minor wingtip injury, but unfortunately, the vets originally thought he was going to be released, and they had him all set to go. There must have been more damage to that wing than we realized, and he actually self-amputated, and that is why he cannot be released. Great horned owls get their name from the large tufts on their heads. He has his down, but they're up there, and they kind of look like ears or horns. Now, they aren't actually ears. The ears of an owl are just holes in the sides of their head. And they're asymmetrical, which means one is higher than the other. And the way that their faces are shaped act like a satellite dish to funnel sound to those ear holes. And so they're very well adapted for listening for their prey in the dark and even underneath the snow in the winter. Because great horned owls don't migrate. They stay all year round. And that's because they are generalists that can be found in a large variety of habitats and eat pretty much anything that they can carry, from rodents to large insects to other birds, lizards. They even like small mammals like rabbits and skunks. And so that kind of food is here all year round for them to eat. and they stay warm by having a thick down coat that covers them from the top of their head all the way to the tips of their toes.
Somebody told me once that my cat that goes outside at night might be in danger. Is that true?
Yes, these birds can take small dogs and cats. And so if you know that you have great horned owls in your area, we do recommend that you always supervise your pets and never let them outside alone at night. But it's best to keep them indoors, especially at night. And great horned owls are found all throughout North America and even Northern Europe, and they might be right in your backyard. Because they don't migrate, they're one of the earliest birds, a raptor, to nest. And they don't make their own nests. They steal nests from other birds. And that's actually one of the best times when you might be more likely to spot a great horned owl. You can see they have excellent camouflage in their feathers. And so the rest of the year, they're always going to be hiding really well and using that camouflage to their advantage, especially during the daytime. But when they're sitting on the nest, they might be a little bit easier to spot. So keep your eyes peeled in case you might see one of these gorgeous, large owls. Yes.
What is that bird doing? He's got his feathers are going in and out, and he's looking really weird.
The word for that is called a gular flutter, and that's a behavior that we see in a lot of owls, especially our larger owls, because being indoors like this is not a normal place for a great horned owl, and he's already grown some of his winter feathers. So they do that behavior sometimes when they're hot, so he could be a little bit warm under these lights in front of the camera, or he could be a little bit upset with me for having brought him indoors where he doesn't normally hang out. Our birds have large outdoor enclosures that they spend most of their time in. The ones that can fly are able to fly around, and the ones that aren't able to fly, like this one with a wing injury, they have special handicapped ramps to help them to get around. So we're going to bring Maggie to wrap us up.
All right, thank you so much, and we're so happy to be able to share 4 of our species of owls here with you virtually. These are just 4 of the many species of owls that can be found in New Mexico and in Colorado. So if you're interested, you can go to our website at hawksaloft.org and see some of the other avian ambassadors that we have here at Hawks Aloft. You can also follow us on Instagram or Facebook, where we post regularly with professional photos of species just like the ones you met. And we also do education stuff on those pages as well. So we're really, once again, very, very sad not to be at Monte Vista this year. It's one of my very favorite events. I've only been once, but it was so much fun when we got to go. But we are really looking forward to seeing y'all in person again in 2023. So thank you so much.